and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you. So tell me, do you feel the way that I feel? And tell me, would you give what I'm willing to give? And I believe in honesty, and I believe it's true. And I believe if you set it free, it will come back to you. And I believe that things were meant to really be. And I believe in the love we have, because I believe in you.
All right, just in time. Welcome, everybody, to UCY.TV. I'm Vince Easley. I'm filling in for the lovely J. Cynthia Brooks, and I have another very lovely lady, Leslie Carroll Botha, and she's going to be joining us. And today, let me change screens. We're going to be talking about food for health, brain food, and hormone balancing. I'll be dropping some links in, and I've got some shout-outs. First of all, worldtruth.org. Join the migration from Facebook. Man, everybody's changing. Skype's changed today. I signed back in and had an automatic update. Facebook is changing. They're not letting me share anything to my pages of anything of significance. They'll let me share little cats and this and that, but when it comes to important information, they seem to have an issue with that. So anyways, let me tell you some about our guest today. Leslie is an author. She's a publisher, radio talk show host, and internationally recognized expert on women's hormone cycles. Also, social political activist on concerning Gardasil and the HPV vaccine for adolescent girls, and also co-author of Understanding Your Mood. See more. Click. Now where'd I go? Your mood, mind, and hormone cycle. Hooray! Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, honorary. I've got the Ocelli Effect tongue tie award, which I always try to get that and give a shout out to Chuck Ocelli, and he'll be coming up here in a couple hours tonight. So stay tuned to UCY.TV, and welcome, Leslie. Wonderful to have you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your asking me to join you today. And just so folks know, and I'll get you out of your tongue tie, I'm internationally recognized for my work with hormones and behaviors, and that's crucial, Vince. It's not just hormone health. It's really understanding the connection between hormone levels in the brain and how that affects especially women's behaviors. So that has been the field that I've been active in for about 35 years. I've kind of created the field, and now hormone health is certainly being recognized by so many more people as science is catching up to women's intuition. That's what I call it.
Every man is certainly aware of the hormone effects on women. Even if we don't understand it, we do know when to keep our mouth shut. Or maybe not.
Oh, you are a wise man. Well, and here's the deal. And this is the frustrating part, because women are beautiful beings, and yet we have been demonized because of this hormone cycle. And consider that the most important relationships in the world are between men and women. And if women do not understand what's going on with their bodies, and men do not understand what's going on with women's bodies, how can you have an intimate, healthy relationship? It's pretty near impossible. So that has been, again, the focus of my work and the purpose of my book, Understanding Your Mind, Mood, and Hormone Cycle. You know, we've focused on reproductive health, Vince. And you and I both know that reproductive health is about sex, body parts, STDs, birth control, pregnancy. But that is a secondary issue, and it's also become a social-political issue, and politicians get a hold of this every election year with the right to birth control, the right to abortion, not two subjects we'll talk about today, but, you know, they've politicized this whole issue. But the primary issue is really the endocrine system. That is that we've had very little education on. Now, you guys have testosterone. Testosterone is like the ever ready bunny. It goes and goes and goes until you're done and you keel over, right? But our society is built on this false reality of work and production, thanks to the Gregorian calendar. Before then, it was the lunar calendar, where we started each day with the new moon, and we rose until the full moon, and then we waned with the waning moon. And every life cycle follows that universal dance. Every cell in our body follows that universal dance. We have 50% of the population that's been told to deny or suppress this cycle. And because women have been doing that, we're endocrinely whacked out, mental, emotional, physical wrecks. And again, it affects the men and children in our lives.
So with birth control, are you saying that's adding to the problem here?
It's a steroid. Synthetic hormones are steroids. Need I say more? Yes. Birth control is adding to the problem, and not only that, synthetic hormone birth control, let me clarify that, and not only that, we're now generations into it, and it has been called the largest uncontrolled experiment in medical history. And I have researched this. Now we are seeing, actually, here's a deal for you, Vince. I just posted an article on my blog at holyhormones.com about the birth control pill. And when women come off the pill, they look at their partners differently and they see their facial features differently. What does that tell you? How is the birth control pill, synthetic hormones, affecting their brain? My colleague Greg Spall has written a wonderful book called Sweetening the Pill, How We Got Hooked on Hormonal Birth Control. And it's pretty frightening when you start digging into synthetic hormones, just like we're digging into vaccines these days, and GMOs, and anything else that's synthetic that we're putting into our body. So, you know, in order to have a healthy, intimate relationship, men and women need to both take part in the birth control, preventing pregnancy discussion, instead of just assuming and letting women be responsible for not getting pregnant, and men can just have sex when they want. It doesn't work. And it's really hurting their partners. And by the time women reach their 40s, they're endocrinely whacked out. Menopause is just horrible. A lot of women divorce. And all of this, it doesn't have to be this way.
Well, a lot in this time in life, a lot of women are waiting later in life to have children. They put college and then their career, and about that time, like you said, that's more and more these days is about. I'm sorry, I'm interrupted. Yes, Coop, I am on now. That's when life is being interrupted. Actually, you know that generally, you know, childbirth was women were much younger and sometimes even too young. So we are definitely under assault. Our environment, our food supply, everything is really it's a war against us.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a war against us. I think one of my concerns, Vince, are the new AAP guidelines and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists guidelines for birth control for teenage girls. They are now recommending that teenage girls go on either a synthetic hormone IUD, an implant in the arm, and I'll have more to say about that in just a moment, as well as a patch. And an injection. Oh, yeah, there is the Depo-Provera birth control vaccine. We've been calling it the Depo injection, and we've kind of been waiting for Bill Gates to come up with his birth control vaccine, and all of a sudden we looked to the left and went, well, holy smokes, we already have it, and it's been there right under our nose. It's a shot that a woman gets every 3 months. Hits her up with a synthetic progesterone, also known as progestin. And it is also, by the way, folks, used as a castration tool for male sex offenders in prison. Imagine if it was marketed to women that way. But women are really struggling with that. But they are using these things on teenage girls, and I'm a firm believer that menarche, the time of first menstruation, is the most fragile time of a young girl's life, and that's how I got back in the vaccine discussion and focusing on Gardasil, because we are vaccinating girls at this most fragile time of their life. But even to put girls on synthetic hormones before their endocrine system even develops its own fertility rhythm, if you will, is opening the doors for huge problems, including depression, anxiety, weight gain, acne, infertility, breast cancer, you name it. I mean, all of these things are being linked back to synthetic hormones, and we have to end it. And it's going to take men and women to end it together. It's going to take men and women sitting down, understanding each other, educating each other about themselves, the biochemical aspect of themselves. You know, a lot of times women say and do things they really don't want to do, and it's driven by hormones that they don't understand what's happening, and we've gotten a bad rap for it. So we really need to have this type of education in our school systems.
Now, Bill Gates said that the vaccine program was doing wonders for population control. And it just begs
you mean killing people? Oh, yeah, it's doing a really great job.
Absolutely. Begs the question, right? Is that not just saying that he's killing people?
Well, you know, I just posted an article on a page that I manage, A Shot of Truth, which is on Facebook, about the high rates of chronic disease in Africa in particular. And you know that is a result of the vaccine programs that are being initiated in those countries in Africa. So they are suffering the same chronic diseases that we are now in America.
Well, okay, I had not been aware of this page, but I am now and have liked it, even though I'm hating Facebook more and more. Big shout out to worldtruth.org. Migrate. Okay, so I see a post here from December the 15th. Was the last one showing up there, but like I said, I just popped onto this page. And, wait, this might be it. Yep, okay, I've got to update. 3 hours ago, when your child is diagnosed with autism, is that one hit?
Yep, that's the page. Yep, we've had 1,600 people like that. You just scroll down, I can't remember. And this page is brought to you by Focus Autism, a foundation out of New Jersey that I work for. Really proud to be working for an organization that is sponsoring Dr. Brian Hooker's work in the study that and the FOIA documents that he has received, revealing that the CDC has been very well aware of the link between thimerosal and autism. And the work that the study that Brian Hooker looked at and did his own analysis on was the link between MMR and autism in African American boys if they were given the MMR vaccine at 36 weeks or earlier, 36 weeks of life or earlier, right? That started off the hashtag CDC whistleblower movement generated by parents of children with autism, which has now had over 500 million impressions on Twitter. It's been a very active campaign. The Donald Trump has even been taking part in all of this and has tweeted our tweets over 10,000 times. This is really getting worldwide attention. Why? I'll tell you why. You know why. I know why. The rates of autism are 1 in 68, 1 in 22 in New Jersey. By year 2025, they're going to be 1 in 2 if we don't stop this thing.
It used to be like 1 in a few thousand.
1 in 88, 1 in a few thousand. I mean, it's just rising exponentially. And yeah, vaccines are one thing. GMOs, environmental toxins, biosolids. And Dr. David Lewis has written about this. He's another scientist sponsored by Focus Autism, the Focus Autism Foundation. Biosolids containing mercury that are on school grounds, open spaces, medians that we're all exposed to, playgrounds. I mean, let me just put it this way. This ain't the world women would have created, Vince. It ain't the world women would have created if we would have had a voice in the construct and the values, the goals. And we need to be letting women have a voice, and it needs to happen fast.
Absolutely. You know, and when I was a young man, I have to admit, I was a chauvinist. That's the way we were raised, you know, as men mostly. And over time, I've come to find that I probably have. I think women probably maybe a little bit smarter than men. Dadgummit, I was going to open something in the page. We got the 420 report from the Buzz Beaver coming up at 4:20 Central Time. So, it did open good. And I will share that in a minute. But, you know, I do have a lot of respect. There's a lot of women out here now that, you know, 20, 30 years ago did not have the same opportunity because of society. And a great work y'all are doing, and a special shout out to Jules, and she's the founder here of UCY.TV. I host here on the weekends, and you know, share the post, and it wears me out. And she's like, you know, 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and I don't know how she keeps it up, but we're really a great big thanks to Jules for all that she does here and providing a platform for us to speak. Now, I know that most people will not even listen to a word we're saying over here. They have no interest. They're so caught up in what society tells them through mainstream. And just cognitive dissonance will not allow them to even entertain the notion that things are not right, that we're being assaulted. It's actually an assault against humanity. It looks like they're trying to kill off the majority of human beings on this planet. Goes back to earlier discussion today on Facebook from, I won't tell who, but anyways, want to know if, you know, if we think the world's overpopulated. Well, under the current system that is operating under greed, we certainly cannot maintain the world and the population. But if the world were allowed to thrive through alternative energy, testing the technology, if we did away with the Federal Reserve, if we did away with the big pharma and their protectors of the the AMA and the whole government is set up to protect corporations, and the corporations keep the government in power, and it's a terrible war. And most people will never even, like I said, entertain this idea. So it's now 14, and I'm going to 4:19 in the Central Time Zone, and I'm going to give the 420 report now. And this is from High Times, and anybody that knows anything about cannabis knows about High Times, I'm certain. But so anyways, they're saying Congress effectively ends the federal ban on medical marijuana. It seems that $1.1 trillion in spending bill is preventing the U.S. government from shutting down. Is chock full of surprises. As you may know, much of the dismay of marijuana activists and lovers of democracy everywhere. The bill smacked down Washington, D.C.'s referendum that legalized recreational marijuana in the nation's capital. What have you missed? Because those shifty politicians are doing everything under the table. Is that bill also quietly but effectively lifted the federal ban on marijuana? And I will, that is from hightimes.com, read/congress-effectively-ends-federal-ban-medical-marijuana. I'll copy and drop that to chat. And if you're listening downstream in YouTube, you can search that right there. So there's that, and that was the 420 report from the Buzz Beaver. Back to you.
Did you want me to say something or respond to that, or that was just the report?
That was the
let's
report.
Let's go back to what we were talking about, and people and the cognitive dissonance, and when that veil falls, it gets pretty ugly, Vince. You and I both know that, because your world comes crashing down, and even though we know denial ain't no river in Egypt, denial is a much easier place to live until you get sick and you're starting to die, and then you wonder what went wrong. And that's usually when the veil is forced to fall for a lot of people, and they really need to start reevaluating their life, their values, their lifestyle. And too bad it takes getting sick to do that. But for those of us who have been aware for a long time, collectively, we have some very serious issues that we need to contend with. There is a Native American proverb that I just love, and I'm going to share with your listeners. A nation is not defeated until the hearts of its women are on the ground. Wow. Let me repeat that. A nation is not defeated until the hearts of its women are on the ground. And the hearts of women are pretty damn close to being on the ground, because for years we have endured abuse. Our bodies have been medicalized. Everything about us has been medicalized. We're put on steroids in our brains. We have our breasts taken off. We have our uterus cut out. We have our ovaries taken out. We're having plastic surgery on our vaginas. This is objectification of women. And it's been going on for years and years and years. It's barbaric, to say the least. But so not only have you put the hearts of women on the ground, now they're really on the ground because our children are being born with neurological disorders. And if you can't hurt a woman, you're damn straight going to hurt a woman when you start hurting her child.
Well, that brings another... now I'm laughing. Another...
I don't know why you're laughing, man. These are serious issues.
I know, but Mr. JJ Inc. is in chat. He's responsible for me being on radio in a very big way. And he's a standing host here at UCY. His Against the Wall played, sometimes he'd do a replay, and it was affectionately known as the JJ replay.
Well, okay, all right. Now I know why you're cracking up. Now you're cracking me up.
James is great. We spoke on the phone earlier today. We met in 2011 on my trip out west. I generally take a trip every. He's dying laughing too. He says, but we met on the Greyhound bus, and we were. Do you know? And man, we had the whole bus engaged, and we broke down on the side of the interstate over by over by the Arizona-New Mexico line. Anyways, and. So we had a great deal of time to talk about so much. And yes, Chad, we are live right now. Wait a minute. I think he's trying to... No, never mind. InfoWars. What? No. Anyways, JJ's awesome. We spent some time together, and I went and did some camping, and he gave me a ride and helped me find a campsite and hung out. But JJ's awesome. We love you bunches over here. Yeah, we don't like InfoWars. Thank you, JJ. Or some people do. We're not saying today whether we do or not. And there's Chuck. We've got a small number of chatters in, so if you are listening, you can go to ucy.tv/kick, K-I-C-K, for Cancer Kickers. J. Cynthia Brooks is still not able to get back on air with us, and it's been my proud honor to stand in and host for her these past about 3 months, and really going through a gauntlet of information here. So many people, they work so hard and accumulate their wealth for retirement, and in the very end, it's sucked out by the evil medical establishment, and they kill them. And by the time some of them realize what's happened, it's too late. But not always too late. You can make corrections, and diet is the key. What you put in your body, whether it be for ill effect or for the good effect. Most of our foods coming out of the grocery store is straight up poison. So we're going to talk about some brain food. Sage. Thanks Vicky Martin for her post earlier that I grabbed a hold of. And eating sage leaves are well known but not often used save for seasonal cooking. And it says a lot of use in the winter in the cooking, but sage is a perennial evergreen subshrub. It says that is a member of the certain family and native to the Mediterranean region. But sage medical features lie in its volatile oils, flavonoids, and phenolic acid. One phenolic acid, rosmarinic acid, has shown to reduce inflammation response as well as active, effective intervention for seasonal allergies. Also anti-cancerous effects, also good for Alzheimer's, enhances memory, which brings to mind there's a little aster flower, and I picked some earlier that's all dried out in the field, but I did eat some dried flowers. I do eat the weeds. It's good for brain function, aster is, and also seems to do good for alleviating some headaches. Also willow bark. So anyways, that comes from organicauthority.com. Eating sage leaves makes you healthy, and sage. And I'll drop that to y'all in chat. So tell us some about some brain foods.
Well, you are right, and I'm glad to hear you bring this up, and that is where my work has been focusing now over the last 5 years. I kind of got into this through the back door. A colleague of mine contacted me out of the blue and asked me to come and be the marketing director at her addiction recovery branch. And I looked up and I went, really, God? Serious? And of course, I had all the wrong stereotypes, judgments against addicts, didn't understand them. However, what she was doing was and is still using holistic therapies as well as nutritional therapies to help restore new neural pathways, create new neural pathways in the brain. I didn't know anything about this. But it appears that when the brain does not get the nutrients that it needs to function optimally, it becomes depressed. And we feel the emotion of that. It's like if you have ice cream every single night, and that's your shtick and that's what you look forward to, and you don't have ice cream, what happens? You become depressed. You become moody. Well, that's what happens to the brain. When it doesn't get the nutrients it needs, it will, latch on to anything to make it feel good, and that's where addictive behaviors come in, and the brain doesn't care if it's porn, and it doesn't care if it's heroin. Everybody's brain is different. Or for a lot of people, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, autism. These are all neural pathways that have been distorted. And so I walked into this addiction recovery program, and we were taking people out of Denver County Jail and, some people that were homeless. And after 30, 60 days, and you see these people, they're released and they're like healthier than most people on the street. because of the nutritional therapy developed by a company out of the Midwest called Neuroscience Incorporated, specifically for addictions. And the amazing thing is that within a week, people, addicts, were no longer craving because the brain was getting the nutrients that it needed, and it went, and addicts fell asleep, and sometimes they slept for a week because their brain was finally satiated. Sure, then you have to do the cognitive, behavioral, motivational, life skills training and add all of that to it. It's just not a miracle, but it is a major breakthrough. And the National Institute on Drug Abuse is now calling addiction as a disease of the brain that can be managed and treated. I sat in on many neuroscience webinars and went to neuroscience conferences, and I'd go back to school for all of it. I fell in love with neuroscience. It just blew me away. Neuroscience is going to change medicine. It is a fairly new field. But it is going to change how we look at medicine. So I've got all this information, taking these webinars. In fact, I'm going to share this little ditty with you at the end of an hour and a half long presentation on neuroscience and addiction. David Mark, who is a neuroscience researcher, said, "Let me put it to you this way. If everybody's neurotransmitters were balanced, neurotransmitters are in the frontal lobe of the brain, and the brain's communication system, what pops, what fires, which makes us alive and thinking, and which controls our emotions." He said, if everybody's neurotransmitters were balanced, we'd be a society filled with happy, loving, peaceful, compassionate, trusting, spiritual people. That rocked my world. Then I realized that most people were caught up in the hellhole of their brains, and they were not in control of their behaviors, which were biochemically based. That person who's angry and gets pissed off at the kids every night and gets pissed off at the wife every night, he doesn't want to be that way. But that's what his biochemical nature is causing him to do. The ego is gone, Vince. Ego has played its role. Good, bad, the ugly, it has played its role. It's out. We are no longer Homo sapiens. We are Homo luminescent sapiens. We know that now. Science proves that we are electromagnetic, and our frequency level has a lot to do with the body burden that we carry and the amount of minerals in our body that can light up and fire the brain. And there's another company now that I'm working with that I'll get into a moment, but I thought maybe you'd want to respond to some of that.
Well, our topsoil, the farming regions of the country and around the world are completely depleted of all the trace elements. They put back on these petrochemical fertilizers, the big three. And with cancer, people die of starvation, malnutrition, I mean.
Yes.
And basically that's what's happening to us now. We're just we're sick from malnutrition.
You know what? I've changed my whole concept about aging. We are not aging, Vince. We are disintegrating. And there is a big difference. And when you start reading the science behind this, you start to realize that chronic disease is a disintegration process where the body is breaking down. It starts in the brain. It starts with the mental, emotional status, and works it all the way down. And I read about this. If I can look at my poster, it's over here. Let me reposition my microphone. I found this in a book on macrobiotics. A long time ago, like in the 70s, when I was first, oh man, did I date myself. When I was first starting, I was a child genius. When I was first starting out on my path. And in this book of macrobiotics, it's the progressive stages of disease. And here they are. The first one is feeling tired. Oh, most of us feel tired. We can't keep up with the pace and the stress in our world. The second one is aches and pains. Well, because we're constricting our muscles so we can try and keep up because we're so tired, right? The third one, which is very interesting, is blood disease. Because when you're tired, when you've got aches and pains, you're not getting nutrients and you're not getting oxygen to your cells, your body is slowing down already. The third one is emotional. So we've got tired, aches and pains, blood disease, emotional. Emotional, why? Because the brain is at the top of our body, and gravity is forcing everything down. It's just the name of the game on this planet Earth, So the brain is getting the least amount of oxygen and the least amount of nutrition. And in this day and age, it is being bombarded the most with heavy metals and toxins crossing the blood-brain barrier. So once you've got tired, aches and pains, blood disease, emotional, and then your organs begin to shut down.
Yeah,
I'm not done yet.
Go.
And then your nervous system becomes affected. Parkinson's disease is a great example of that. All right? And then the last one, you're going to love this, Vince, is arrogance. Now, this isn't the Japanese book on macrobiotics. Tired, aches and pains, blood disease, emotional, organ, nervous, and arrogance? What does that mean? Disconnected, sociopathic, schizophrenic, addiction, addicts, arrogance, people who are disconnected from life, the community of life, and think of only themselves and put themselves first. And it's all about me. We know a lot of sociopaths, don't we, Vince?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take just a moment to redact earlier statement. Look, we all have a great many information sources, and if you can find a positive from any one individual, then all the better. I'm afraid I started a dispute here in chat. So Chad's a new listener. Welcome, Chad. And realize that we all do have different opinions, dissenting opinions, and that's okay. We don't. Thank God we don't all believe the same thing, right? And I was asked what I believe earlier, and I really don't believe too much. I like to examine information. And just take a look all the way around, and if it doesn't coincide with what's good and right, then I just discard that. And I've tried to make it a point not to be knocking other people, and sometimes my mouth slips. So my apologies. And Chad, stick around. This is a great place. We've got great information here. Our chatters are opinionated, and that's okay too. We all have our opinions, and that's based on our perspective. So again, my apologies for taking us off in another direction there in chat. So anyways, back to you.
Oh, okay.
And that's a nervous laugh. That was a nervous laugh. Oh my God.
On my part, well, I don't know if they're disagreeing with me or not. But here's the deal.
No, not you. It was what I said about.
Well, but and here's the deal. And your people don't know me. A lot of people do know me. A lot of people don't know me. It doesn't matter. One thing I will tell you: I am well researched, and if I am speaking, it is because I have researched the topic. If I have products on my website, it is because I have researched them and stand behind them. I am in a position with my blog, holyhormones.com, and as a women's health educator, to share information with women and men who are struggling. And certainly I would be remiss if I wasn't diligent in the work that I had to do to make sure that I am sharing information that is not only correct, but it is up to date. And that is how I spend the majority of my time. So, just that disclaimer. I've also taken a course through the National Institute on Whole Health. Did a 2-year course on whole health education. Fascinating. And I learned a great deal there. My life has been a journey of learning and sharing what I know. So be that as it may. As you mentioned, the soils are depleted. Every time you get up out of your bed, folks, what does it take for your body to get moving? And it's becoming harder and harder. It takes vitamins. It takes minerals. It takes amino acids. It takes fats, enzymes. What fuels your body but micronutrients? And as Vince said, these are harder and harder to come by. I mean, we're growing. We've got generations coming up under us. They ain't growing so well. They're supposed to outlive or die before their parents now. But they wouldn't know a potato from a rutabaga. They're eating all processed foods, all microwave foods, and foods wrapped in plastic and then microwaved. And that's a chemical bomb. Could be like a nuclear bomb for all we know. So we're not getting nutrients. And here's the deal. And this just makes sense. That's what I mean. Science is finally catching up with women's intuition, because women were the healers. They understood all of this. Every generation that comes into this world their health is going to be based on the health of their parents. That's not rocket science. That's common sense. Their health is dependent on the health of their parents and the grandparents and the great-grandparents. Now, with each passing generation, we've gotten more involved with drugs, and recreational or not, prescription drugs is a big one. And our food sources have changed exponentially, and we're getting sicker and sicker. And we keep running off to the doctor, who's given us more medications. I interviewed this guy just to bring up this example, because it blew me away. And he's a guy. He's brilliant. Robert Whitaker, madinamerica.com is his blog. He wrote a book, Anatomy of an Epidemic, The Rise of Mental Illness in America. It's a longer title than that, but just type in Anatomy of an Epidemic, you'll find it. And I've interviewed him a couple of times. I'll be interviewing him again. And he wrote in his book, it stopped me cold. I could not even finish the book, Vince. I could not finish the book. It was the history of the pharmaceutical industry and mental illness. But he, in his research, realized that the first people who took psychotropic meds in the 1950s and 60s, and 1 in 3 Americans were on these happy pills. 1 in 3. The first people who took psychotropic meds back in the 50s and 60s forever changed the neural pathways of their lineage. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it just goes back to just the idea of the Jetsons, the cartoon back in the 70s, and a pill for everything. And we've been conditioned. Michael Cross on Lock the Door was talking a previous hour about the Bernays and the propaganda. And we are all so conditioned, no matter how right we assume ourselves to be, we still are influenced by somebody else's opinion. And we're all a little different. And I think we're making amends here in chat. JJ has been very gracious and apologized. My apologies again. I should have never taken us in that direction there. I was referencing another broadcaster elsewhere. Chuck Otelli's in chat right now, and he's listening in. You've been a frequent guest on the Ocelli Effect, and he's coming up live here in about an hour, and 2 hours and about 15 minutes. So let's see, where was I going? I forgot here.
Well, if you forgot, I'm continuing on, because obviously you need these nutrients. So anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry about that. No, I've been a guest on Chuck's show. Love Chuck and the work that he's doing.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that he's listening in today. He and I have shared some great insights and stories. But here's the deal. The deal is there is a company out of Canada called TrueHope.com, just as it sounds, TrueHope.com. And there's a story. I want to share the story with you. In 1996, I saw an article in a newspaper, and the headline was, "Wife commits suicide after 2 weeks on Prozac," and I was just becoming aware of SSRIs. And it was a picture of a wife, husband, and 9 children. And I went, wow. But it impacted me. And that same story came up 4 years ago when a colleague of mine out of Canada met me in Boulder, Colorado, for a Tesla energy healing weekend, as a matter of fact, using Tesla lights, Tesla energy, fabulous work. And she said, I'd love to show you a PowerPoint about my company, the company I work for. And the very first slide was that picture of the man and the wife who had committed suicide. And I just got chills. I was just like, I could not believe that my life had come full circle to be sitting and now watching this PowerPoint. So here's the story. The wife had suffered from severe bipolar disorder with rapid cycling and schizophrenic affects. Her father committed suicide when she was 16 from the same disorder. So she grew up with it, had 9 children. We now know that each pregnancy a woman goes through takes vital nutrients out of the body. So 9 pregnancies and struggling with bipolar disorder and now major nutrient depletion. Commits suicide on Prozac. Leaves the husband with 9 kids, and 2 of them who were diagnosed with the same disorder. The father, Anthony Steffen, the founder of True Hope, was not willing to accept the medical opinion to drug and institutionalize his kids. He met a man at church and said, my daughter's in and out of psych wards. My son's being thrown in and out of school because of his aggressive behavior. I don't know what to do. And this man who was in the vet feed supply business said to him, that sounds like pig ear tail chasing disease, and we give them these minerals, and it not only does it calm down the pig, it calms down the rest of the pen. They spent the next 10 years researching and converting vet grade minerals to human grade supplements, and now they have been on the market. They fought Health Canada and won to stay open. And they've gotten over 100,000 people off their bipolar medications. There are 25 published studies on this product, which is unheard of for a nutritional supplement. But what they realized is that the minerals have to be in synergistic ratio with each other. It's 36 essential vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that target the brain, that wake the brain up, so you can start thinking and processing and not just running like a hamster around in the same wheel in your head over and over again with the same conversations. But you can actually wake up and start solving the problems in your life instead of just getting sunk by the problems in your life. It is a most fascinating product. They've now expanded to a multi-relationship marketing company, whatever you want to call that. The senior editor of WebMD, Dr. Stephen Kimberly, sits on their scientific advisory board, and now we're making this product available to anyone who is suffering from depression, anxiety. There's a study on autism and its use. What it does is it gives the brain the nutrients that it needs to create new neural pathways to replace the ones that are broken down by meds, by abuse, by trauma to the brain, whether it's grief or whether it's physical trauma, PTSD that our veterans are suffering from. And God, are we starting to realize how devastating war is on the human psyche and the human body. But anyway, so that's why we're doing cyber attacks on Sony, like right out of Korea. I'm not going there. Sure. All right. So anyway,
let me interrupt for one moment. Now, LeslieBotha.myQXLife.com, is that's your site where a person can find some of these minerals and so forth?
Absolutely. That is my site. The main site is QSciences.com. It is a wonderful site packed filled with information. And TrueHope.com is the company that has licensed the product to Q Sciences. And we're calling this the Women Helping Women Thrive movement, but it's not really women, but women are more open to this, maybe because we've been more subjected to meds and being told, it's all in your head, honey. Well, guess what? It is all in our head, folks. The brain is the largest endocrine gland in the body. It's where hormone production starts. You start getting nutrients to the brain, then you start producing hormones again. Hormones send chemical messages out to every cell in the body. So think of it this way. When you've got hormone imbalance, right, that the message is going to the cell in the body. It's like me calling you up, Vince, and saying, wanting to tell you, Vince, you just won the $5 million lottery. And the phone rings, and the phone rings, and the phone rings, and you don't pick up because you're not hearing the call. Or I call you up and you pick up the phone and I say, Vince, and you're saying, I can't really hear you. It's staticky. The connection is bad, right? And I say, Vince, your mother's in the hospital. You need to get over here. And you go, oh my God, my brother's in the hospital. I'm out the door and I'm going over here. That's hormone imbalance. The messages are not getting to the cells. And now here's another little tidbit for your listeners. I did an interview with Dr. Hannon Polanski with the Center for the Biology of Chronic Disease years ago when we were talking about Gardasil. And I'll come back on your show another time and talk about Gardasil. He said, we've got it all backwards in terms of viruses in our bodies. And our bodies are made up of viruses. They do an intricate dance when they're in balance in our bodies, and we need a lot of these viruses. They, just like everything else in our life, they've been given a bad rap. But anyway, there are some devastating ones, don't get me wrong. However, he said we've been told that when viruses become active, that's when they're dangerous. And he said that's not true. So you got that herpes infection, whether it's 1 or 2, or the rhinosinusitis or the sinusitis, and you think, oh, God, I'm sick. It's a virus. I got to take care of it, right? Viruses are parasitic. When viruses are not active, they lay dormant, inactive in the body. And how do they survive? They're sucking nutrition out of your cells, people. That's how they live in your body, and they're supposed to be there. We're only like 10% bones and skin, and the rest of us is a microbiome, if you will, a genobiome, if you will, made up of viruses and bacteria that all need each other to be in ratio and dance with each other. And when they're upset, when the ratio is off, that's when we get sick. But in the meantime, now they're sucking nutrition out of the cells. So if you're not getting nutrition at a cellular level like this Q96 Empower Plus, which is bioavailable, it dissolves immediately. It doesn't has to be digested by the stomach. It is that bioavailable, which makes the product so unique. Then you are getting that nutrition to the cellular level, and it's not getting junked up in the digestive tract where most of us have major issues. And that's another byproduct, a wonderful thing about this product. And I'm digressing here because there's so much information I want to share. But the deal is when you start looking, Vince, at the danger of viruses in the body, and you start saying, well, how do those suckers live? They're living off of us. So if we're not replacing the nutrition and getting that nutrition to the cellular level, we're going to get sick, period.
Yeah, it is a multi-front war that we wage, and beyond nutrition, like you're talking about parasites, viruses, bacteria, and so forth, they tend to thrive in a sick environment. It's like a sick plant will usually, be attacked over others from diseases, and humans the same way. Yeah, thank you, Coop, for he mentioned that Canada has been long into research connecting nutrition and addiction and so forth. Anyways, I want to put you on the spot. We're going to run out of time here in just a little bit. Now, you have you are also the Liberty Beacon Project, thetowncrier.com. I'm going to copy that and drop it back in the chat. Now, you're there. What days do you broadcast on the town?
I broadcast on Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, and that show is archived on my site. And the Liberty Beacon is a fabulous network. We're just getting started. We'll be going worldwide after the first of the year. A larger push than what is being done now. We're getting a lot of the kinks out of the programs. I think we've been on the air since August, and it really is an honor to be there along with Chuck. And Dr. Rebecca Carley, who's big on vaccines. Terry Joyce, Christina England out of the UK has a show on vaccines. And of course, none other than Roger Landry, who gets on with his brilliant rants and his perspectives on the world order.
Yeah, I met Roger online here thanks to a friend on Facebook. As much as I hate Facebook, I still have to have a lot of thanks for all the connections they bring in so many people together. But Roger's a frequent guest every Tuesday. Matter of fact, on the Easley Effect, he stands in with Chuck. Great site. So, anyways, this is where I want to put you on the spot. This is from earlier in chat. What about the dancing Israelis? This is, of course, referring to 9/11. And so, just to satisfy our listeners, can you...
what do you mean about the dancing Israelis? I sure as hell have my thoughts on what's going on in the Middle East. Is that what your listener is referring to?
Actually, it's 9/11. There were some Israelis caught filming the fall of the... We're really digressing here. I'm sorry to put you on
We are, but all right, let me just talk to you about that for just a moment, and it may just piss some of your audience off or not. I mean, we're struggling with the Middle East. We have struggled with the Middle East. Middle East is filled with oil. We have bombarded them with munitions. We have poisoned their environment. Their children are being deformed. And we have added to, if you will, how do I want to say this without getting thrown off the planet? That's all right. I'll walk off. We've added to... we have fueled their fires in many different ways. And let me go back to just prefacing that with poisoning their environment, which affects everybody's mental, emotional health. We have to take accountability for that. I mean, just looking at our soldiers coming back home being exposed to these toxins, munitions toxins, and how that is affecting their health. We've got to live on this planet together. And the more global we come, the more we're going to have to link arms and start dealing with each other instead of fighting each other. And this is one issue that we really need to get a grip on.
Yeah, talking about depleted uranium, they're putting in the shells that they're bombing everybody. But most people here will agree that 9/11 was an inside job. Maybe not everybody listening this particular subject. So I did take us way off course, but... we have some tough chatters in here that ask some pretty tough questions.
That's all right. I have my opinion on it. I just shared it. I am all for... We have to start living together.
I agree.
Or else we're just going to kill each other off. So, we better start making some serious choices. And that's all. And that's all I have to say about that.
Absolutely, Leslie. I really appreciate you coming on and. I've listened to you with Chuck before and look forward to catching up with you again later. Everybody, this is a wonderful person. If you're on Facebook, visit her, Leslie Carroll Botha on Facebook, and all the other links I've shared. Find your way back over there and check her out. And if you're looking for minerals and other supplements there, I think that would be a good link. I've been looking at that on Life Sciences there. It's like a pretty good...
email me. Just email me, Leslie@holyhormones.com.
There you go. Yeah, and also you can find your other page at holyhormones.com.
Holyhormones.com. That's exactly right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks bunches, Leslie. We'll talk to you more later.
All righty.
Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we're coming up to the end of the program. We've got... Tarpley's up next for 2 hours. Then Chuck is on the Easley Effect for 2 hours, followed by his wife Kim, Jaded. Look forward to a great night of discussion. We kind of bounced around a little bit, and I was distracted. Then, which I am easily. So I am easily. Matter of fact, Vincent Easley, your host today. Thanks everybody for listening. Stay tuned to UCY.TV for more great programming. Love, peace, y'all. Hey, I'm on Off-Grid Journey tomorrow. Catch me tomorrow on our road. Stay tuned.
I believe in angels and I believe in you. I believe in the simple things and everything you do. I believe in the heavens above, and I believe in truth. I believe in the love we have, because I believe in